What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's Gia Baby. I'm doing a review, another one on Ready to Love tonight, and this time I'm having my little drink. So I don't really know the rules. I forgot it's like the cup has to be clear or something like that, but I am sipping and I'm drinking Meiomi Cabernet Sauvignon. Tried it in the store today and I like it. It's a nice kind of like fruity aftertaste. It's not super sweet, which I mean, every once in a while sweet's fine, but it gets you a little nauseous if you drink too much and like stuff like that. So yes, so I put a lot of footage in my last video, probably more than I should have. So if you are wanting to get a little like catch up or like review, my last video has so much footage and you can catch up on the previews. It started off with the gentleman sitting down and talking about like their dates and stuff like that. So they're meeting the family this time, which is always intimidating because, I mean, when you're meeting the family, it's just kind of like a situation where you don't really want to bring someone to your home to meet your family, and it feels weird.
She's great.
Aww, giving me lovey-dovey eyes today.
I feel like I always give you lovey-dovey eyes, you know?
Today's different. He's looking at me with a lot of love in his eyes. I'm not sure what's bringing that on, but I'm here for it.
So Quentin brings Darius, and it's his cousin, and I think it's kind of funny how on the date he was like, oh, you're like a female version of Quentin. Like, you're just like Quentin, like a female with a green dress, which is like, okay. You're basically saying like the same person, they meant to be together. I didn't really get him saying that vibe with Janelle when he met her later. So yeah, I think Janelle is still salty about how he was still strong in the connection with Janelle in the getaway house. Quinn's definitely attracted to her, you know, but I think like when Janelle met his cousin, there's just more of like a natural bond that almost seems like they're already a relationship. It almost seems like they're already boyfriend and girlfriend, and I think that's kind of the thing. Like in the dream house, they were already acting like that. Like it wasn't any room for, you know, Lee to kind of have any kind of relationship with him.
And stuff, concerts. But I feel like me and Quentin too haven't really been able to just have fun.
Yeah.
We didn't really even get to spend like any time together on the little getaway either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house was really tough to navigate.
I don't even feel like he tried to navigate.
I can be completely honest. It
Yeah.
was very uncomfortable. But I did like that you didn't make a big fuss about it.
Yeah.
The biggest question between me and Janelle right now is if I would be okay taking children off the table. And I don't know if I'm okay with that. Me and Lee agree on marriage and kids. And Janelle is getting older, and I know she wants to adopt, but I do want, you know, my own children, my flesh and blood.
Your time and intention has now been solely focused on Janelle. She don't want to be second choice. So, she felt it best to end her journey with us.
I feel like this is not happening.
What you saying to me?
I do think that it is my time to exit the process.
Really?
I'm definitely surprised to hear Lee self-eliminated. I never wanted Lee to feel second choice. We definitely have a connection. That's what's most disappointing. You know, I still wanted to see the process through with Lee.
Nobody's going home. Nobody. We're too close to the promised land to turn around now.
Yeah. I'm cool and thankful that no woman is going to be eliminated today.
I think this is kind of showing how Quinn is kind of used to playing the field. You know, he knows how to like, okay, like she's kind of cool, she's laid back, she's quiet. He knows what kind of girl Lee is. He knows that, hey, I can go with Janelle because Janelle is a more stronger personality. I feel like because she's such a strong personality, he can be like, okay, I know that if I do something, Janelle's gonna hold me to it right now, but I know that Lee's just kind of gonna chill, lay low. He kept saying, oh, I love it, Lee, how you're just like so chill about stuff and you're not like making a big deal and a big fuss. And it's like, of course you don't. Of course you don't, because you don't want anyone to call you out on, you know, you having kind of favoritism in this moment, which that's exactly what it was, favoritism. So yeah, I think as far as who I think is a better pick for him, I mean, everyone's just drawn down to who's there at the moment. But it's like, let's just be honest, there's a whole heap of people out in this world that they have yet to meet, yet to discover. And I feel like this show is like, it's almost telling them like, hey, if you can't, you know, connect with any of the girls in the show or the guys, and well, better luck, or like there's no one else to go for. But we all know the reality is like there's still, you know, other connections out there, other people they can meet. So I think like you don't have to force it just to like have someone to end up with in the show. And yeah, I just feel like him and Janelle have a very natural connection, but he still has a way about him that's just like, I don't want to say it's not ready to settle down. He's just scared. Like he's just scared he's gonna make the wrong decision on promising someone a relationship. That's what I feel. And I feel like, yes, he's been playing the field for a while. You can kind of tell he has a little player ways on him, and he kind of does. Like, and it's hard for him to get out that mindset when he has all these different women around him.
Connection that I have with Janelle, and it is a strong connection. But, you know, I still have a very much strong connection with you. I still think about you a lot and the potential of what we could have.
You frustrate me. Quentin is saying that he hasn't made a decision between Janelle and I, but I'm not really buying it. We check a lot of boxes, but that's not, like, enough.
Yeah, he had some explaining to do. So then Philip comes and he brings his cousin and his aunt to like meet Lee. I mean, not Lee, freaking Aries. I don't know why I keep forgetting that, because Aries is like, it's a zodiac sign, and well, it's also other stuff too, but yeah. So anyway.
Stability with as far as his career, because he was kind of saying how he had reinvented himself and was still kind of figuring out the next steps. You know, I want to make sure that if we're going to be blending a family, that we're in a good space. Some of the heartbreaks I had to do with that not being there.
Right. To mention security, I feel like there's a monetary base to that. She doesn't really elaborate, but it's loud like the third time I've heard this. It's starting to get on my nerves.
I don't know. I just feel like really weird. It just reminds me of when I was in prom or something, meeting like my prom dates, you know, family. And so what are you doing with this young man? What are you doing with this young lady? It's just like, oh, this young...
Aries mentioned stability in my career again, which I get it. Most women would like to make sure that he's, you know, gainfully employed and things of that nature. But it does bring pause to say, like, why does this keep coming up for me?
I'll speak to my defense. When I speak about the reinventing thing, I did it for more stability. Because my previous career, you got to travel to go make money. I needed to sit down so I could be there for my son, as well as add on things. So I don't think that's going to be a concern. But yeah, y'all go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, you know.
Give them a whole proper, like, politically correct answer and just kind of like come up with all these nice stuff you have to say about them, and then you just gotta keep all the things you don't like under the rug, because you're just like, okay, well, I can't really say anything rude, I don't want to offend them, you know, that kind of thing. So Aries is obviously beautiful. She has 2 kids, so of course she kept on bringing up the stability thing. I'm concerned about his stability and what he can provide. She never really says anything like, you just can't say what you want to say, man. It all goes down to the whole fake it till you make it thing, where it's like, you want to say what you want to say, but you don't want to be disrespectful because you don't want to be like causing mess and you don't want to get into it with anybody. So of course you can't just be like, yeah, I just want to make sure like he has enough money to take care of me and my sons, because I'm trying like to not work at some point. I want to be the queen in the household and not have to work. So I get it. Like seriously, you know. And for him, you know, he's constantly saying like, oh, she's bringing it up again, and I don't know why she's doing that, but it's like, boy, come on, you know what it is. And then he tried to say, oh, I'm more focused on, you know, showing her a good time and this and that. And it's like, I get it, you know. And sometimes when men's ego gets hurt, they kind of like play the victim card a little bit, and they kind of like pointed more to her as like, oh, she's kind of being like gold diggerish. He wanted to say that. I know he wanted to say gold digger, but he didn't. He thought she was being kind of gold diggerish. Whatever. I think she's perfectly in the right, mindset to be looking to see if he can take care of her financially, because there are 2 kids in a situation. He also, I think, has a kid as well. And he did kind of say that his kind of situation is a little unstable. And I think there's also a clip in the part of it where he's like, oh, I think like at the very end of the previews for the next season, he was like, oh, well, I mean, are the stuff that I do on the side, are they lucrative? No, they're not lucrative right now, and they're not stable right now. So it's just like, okay, so Aries' observations was right. And I think that they have a very cool match, just like Janelle and Quentin. And I think that, I really think that, like, if she's willing to figure it out with him, then she really loves him. But sometimes, like, I guess she's saying like, oh, I'm too old, I'm too mature to make any mistake on choosing someone off of those pretty eyes, and I have to check myself when I look at you in those eyes, and I have to make sure that I don't make a wrong decision. So I get it. Like, she doesn't want to just be stuck on stupid for no man and then be broke in the house. That's fine. Yeah, I think that his family liked her because they called her beautiful and nice, whatever. I think that she's still on the edge. I don't think that she's giving her 100% in, and I do think that Philip may be giving his 100% in, maybe 89%. He seems pretty genuine for the most part. So yeah, I think he's giving it a chance, and I think that Aries has a little bit more drawbacks in the situation. So okay, then it was Marie with his cousin, I think it was, and she went and met Jessica and Kat. So Jessica came first, and she was already coming in with her little attitude and stuff like that. Her little like, oh, I'm just not into this. Don't throw any curses on me. I'm too good for this. I do Christian, man. Okay. And, like, she had that kind of vibe going on, which is like the vibe that she usually has. And his family started talking about the spiritual side of him again, and he was just kind of like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, he's very spiritual, and he, does this, that, and the third. And she was like, oh yeah, and then in the cutscene, she's like, well, I really do Christian men only, which is fine. Like, I'm all in for Jesus, and like, I get it. Like, if you don't want to have an unequal yoke relationship, then you just don't want to, and that's up to Jessica to decide. But I just think that Maria seems to really have an attraction or liking for Jessica. Jessica is still on the fence, and she still has an attitude with him and his family when they met. And she's not really ready for nothing too serious, I think, with Maria. But I think she's trying to give it a chance because she's lonely. She, like I said, the girls kind of go to Maria when they don't really, like, know what to say or do, And I just think, like, as far as spirituality goes, I don't think that they're a good match. And I feel like they're going to have fights about this in the future. I feel like they're always going to clash. And I feel like, yeah, you can sweep it under the rug and be cute right now and laugh and and yeah, and this and that and stuff. But like, after a while, it's going to get old, and they're going to start fighting about those spirituality things. So then Katarina comes in, and she's like really sweet and pretty open and chill. And honestly, I think Katarina is the better choice because it seems like she is more open. No, it seems like, that's my wife. It seems like she is more open spiritually with Marie, and she's more willing to, connect with him on that level, and which is great. Like, they can have a match on that part. Another thing that was kind of annoying with Jessica, she does kind of seem a little, like stubborn and a little like ignorant, because not everybody has to believe in zodiac signs. But then she's like, I just don't believe a certain time and a place. And he was like, we're both Tauruses. And she was like, I don't believe a certain date and a time and a place like correlates with someone's personality. And I was telling like a colleague this. I was like, yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm a Leo, so I see a lot of truth in astrology, and I think it has to do a lot with science too. And I just think that there's just so much truth in it the more and more I learn about it. And, you know, I just, with Jessica, she just kind of come off as like a know-it-all. And it's like, okay, girl, we get it. And, you know, I love people because I love my believers in Christ, but I don't like my fellow believers who try to like think that they're better, or like that they're just smarter, or that everyone's just so stupid because they don't believe, or that they don't understand, or whatever. So I think that she gives very big Taurus vibes, ironically enough, just like when she was called combative and then she was like, I'm not combative, but then proceeded to be combative. I think it's just kind of like that whole thing. So yeah. But anyway, I think, sorry, I say I think and I feel a lot because that's just kind of how I go. And with, you know, Katarina, it's just, I think she's a really good fit for him, and I think that she's willing to give it a try. I don't know how much all of this is performative just for the show. Who knows? Like, it's a show. That's why it's a show. And yeah, I feel like they're a good match. So then Janelle meets Quentin's family, and like I said, like, Quentin just knows how to play the field. Now, his problem with Janelle is that she's too old, and I wish she was younger. Like, okay, like, don't all most men wish they could have a little hot young thing, I guess. Whatever. But then Janelle was like, oh, he's looking at me with a lot of love in his eyes. And I'm just like, girl, maybe he drinking. Like, she reads into stuff a lot. Usually she's pretty right about stuff. But as far as with Quentin, I just feel like he's just a master at the game. And I think he just knows how to, like, he knows how to play on people's emotions. He knows how to play on the situation to, like, make himself portray a certain way that he wants you to think about him. And I think that's really what it is. So yeah, don't get your hopes up too much, Janelle, because I don't know. So, you know, then, I mean, you know, he was talking to her about kids, and Janelle's not really wanting to have kids like that, and she wants to adopt, really, which makes sense, you know, like, she was adopted and stuff like that, and it's just something you want to give back to the world because you were in that situation, you know. And like, my boyfriend's adopted, so I can understand, like, he wants to adopt too. It's just kind of the heart of someone who was adopted, and the heart of people who just want to help kids who just didn't have a home or family. And there's a statistic saying that most foster kids end up going to their family of some sort, but that's not always the case. So I think that, and then he was like, well, Quentin said, I wanted to have kids in my own blood and my own flesh and my own soul. I mean, that is very great. I mean, you want to have a little mini-me. You want to have your legacy. Like, I understand that as a man's point, but it's kind of selfish. Like, you could have at least been like, I want to have kids of my own, but I don't mind adopting too. Like, it's called compromise. And I'm not saying, like, everyone just has to adopt or whatever, but I mean, it just kind of says a lot about the person. Like, how much are you willing to give back to someone who doesn't have it all like you did? That's just kind of my take on it. Also, like, yeah, he is feeling Janelle, he's feeling Lee, but he's playing both of them. Like, he played Lee so hard in that house. Like, you can't tell me he didn't. And even when Lee was over at the fishing net trying to be cool with him, like, the fact that he had to, like, run all the way over to Janelle because she caught him saying, babe, you catching fish? It's like, dang, like, you could have at least put the nip in the butt and be like, and that's kind of where he's playing Janelle too, because, like, you could have at least told her right then and there, like, look, I want to, like, explore my options, and can you just let me talk to Lee a little bit without trying to drive him? Like, I know what you're doing, you know, there was none of that. And maybe he's just unconfrontational and he doesn't want to disrespect Janelle. So that might be a side of him too, where it's really sweet and respectful woman. But I see respect for woman, and I also see, like, he's playing both sides and he knows how to juggle things around. And he just gives me I had a girl and I had a side girl before, and I kept them both happy for a while, and it blew my face. Like, that's what he gives me. Like, and then he's so confident in his body, and which is great, but it's just signs of a boy. So then Aries and Philip are talking in the park, and it comes up again, her red flags, or like what she feels like she's worried about. She's worried about stability with him. Brings it up again, and then he had the nerve to say, oh, it's starting to get me pissed off. Yeah, it's hurting your ego, it's hurting your pride, it's making you feel like, dang, like I don't have my life together. Like, I know that shit. That does not feel good to feel that way. And if someone's constantly reminding you about your shortcomings, like, but it's reality of life, and it's something that's gonna come up no matter if you don't want it to or not, because if you are together, finances are gonna come up, you're gonna have to talk about it together, and that's just kind of what it is. It is what it is. So, like I said, I think they have a really good connection. I hope that they can make it work, because I think their connection is one of the realest and is cute, and I loved watching him like massage her feet. Like, I thought that was really sweet, you know? So yeah, hopefully they'll work.
They're gonna have to make me feel like the one.
Right.
I feel like I've given it my all to try to just open myself up.
What you saying to me?
Oh my gosh, then something that happened that we did not see coming. Someone self-eliminated himself. Lee self-eliminated herself, and I think it was kind of a smart move, more so a power move, because it's just kind of like, okay, like, I'm not gonna be second place to you, or to the girl that you're dating, and it's gotta hurt her feelings. Like, Janelle's been the first runner-up for a while, and then just the stuff that Quentin says to like scapegoat out situation, like, oh, you know, I see qualities of like you and Janelle, and like I see similarities, and that's why I'm falling in love with both of you guys. Like, he tried to play that card. He has all the cards in the book, man. He has all the tricks of what to do, and I think that Lee has been there, done that, and I think she's smart enough to see the tricks that Quentin is playing. So she was smart in leaving early and making sure that she didn't get her heart broken, because Quentin seems like a heartbreaker, in my opinion. So kudos for her for leaving. So at the end, on the elimination moment, when the boys are talking, you know, Quentin's ready to like say his little skit or whatever, what he's trying to say to like keep both of the girls there. And he was like, well, you know, both of the girls, and I just wish Janelle was younger, and blah, blah, blah. And Tommy's just like, okay, I see what you're doing now. Look, she ain't here no more. She's gone. She has self-eliminated herself. And he was just like shocked. It was almost like Lee had broke up with him. Like, that's kind of how it seemed like. He was just broken up with for a second. So, yeah, she washed her hands of everything, and she's like, I'm out. She gracefully left, which was great. You know, she didn't like make a whole hoopla. There's a lot of grace and poise in Lee, and I think that that's what he's attracted to, because Janelle is just so dominant, and you know, she has very strong traits that can come off a little masculine. And I think that he kept saying like, oh, like Lee is just so soft, because she's a little bit more feminine side, and she's less confrontational, and I think that's what he wants in a partner. But it almost seems like he wishes like Janelle was more like her, and if she was, then he'd just be with her, because something is just pulling him to Janelle. I don't know if it's his attractiveness to her, or just the vibe they naturally have chemistry for, and that could be it as well. So I don't know. Best of luck to all of them. They look so relieved that they don't have to send any of the girls home, by the way. They're just like, oh, yes. But then, like, Philip looks all relieved. I'm just like, you're not even, like, choosing between anybody. It's just you and Aries. So, yeah, I think it was a great episode all in all. And I just think that we'll see what happens. And this is the last time they're going to be sitting in the chairs. So let me know what y'all think, like who you think is a good connection, how any of this kind of pertains to you in your life, because I know like in my life when it comes to stability and things like that, like it matters to me. And I completely get it. And let me know if you've ever ran into a Quentin, like someone who's just kind of put you on the back burner and you left, you know, and tried to play you, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, like we've all kind of met a guy, like kind of each of every one of them if you've dated. So yeah, we'll see what happens next week. And I'll see y'all next week. So come and join me. I might do a live watching party, so let me know in the comments of what you guys are liking. And we'll see you next time. I don't know what Luca's doing over there, but he's just being a dirty little dog. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you will. And I'll see you next week. Toodles.
Making the right decision.
But I have tried to trust the process just to make sure. I am in a tough situation. I have two connections, Jessica and Katarina. They both are genuinely great women.
Do you see yourself leaving Dallas?
I'm already working on dual citizenship in Ghana and Sierra Leone.
I'm like completely shocked right now.
Do you want a big family?
I would love to have 3.
There's no way. 3 children is gonna be a hard pass for me. We can do like 1.5 and a dog.
Family and friends are